So Adam, why don't you share a little bit of your background and whatnot first, and tell us what you did for a living and stuff.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? All right. Yeah, my name is Adam Murray. I raised in Houston, and I'm married. I have 3 kids who you see in the picture here. We also like to travel, so this is us in Colorado last summer. We like to go there every summer, catch a little break from the heat. I did go to UT Austin, a degree in economics. And
is that Longhorns? What is that?
That's right.
Yes. You do this one? And your enemy's the Aggies?
Yeah.
Who are in the room?
I don't know.
What noise do the Aggies make? And what do you make?
Just this.
You don't go
keep it simple.
or anything like that?
No.
Oh, that's no fun.
So yeah, I am currently employed as an IT analyst and project manager.
Okay. See, this is how excited the IT guys get. That's the most excited they ever get.
I'll get excited in a little while when we start talking.
What I love, though, I'm serious about this, is most of our lead investors, the guys that put together these big deals like this that help change other people's lives by investing, they typically are people that are very organized like that. So there'll be IT guys, there'll be accountants, there'll be engineers, and they wear the button-down shirt. I mean, that's what they do. Yeah. But they're stewards of people's money. Yeah. And you're married, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And is your wife involved with it as well?
Peripherally, not too much. It's mostly me. Yeah.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I plan on bringing her into the fold, though, for sure.
Okay, awesome.
So yes, I am currently employed as a project manager, IT analyst. Been doing that for a long, long time, and joined Lifestyles in 2021. And right away, I started passively investing. So we are passively invested in a number of properties. Across a number of states in Ohio, for example. So, why did I join Lifestyles? Been doing what I'm doing for, like I said, 24 years, and really for a lot. We'll say like the past 5 years, I've been interested in doing something else. I've always had an interest in real estate. My parents actually own a residential real estate company, so. Before that, my grandmother used to buy and sell houses in the 70s and 80s. So we've been talking real estate a lot as a family for a long, long time. So I've always had an interest in real estate, but coming into Lifestyles, my goal is to really transition to full-time real estate, being a lead, passively investing, and retire early. So as part of that, obviously replacing my income and developing a passive income stream, which is developing now.
Very similar to my story. I grew up in and around real estate. I always wanted to be in it, but I took a 18-year detour and did something else first.
Yeah.
So, oops, what happened here? There we go. So when I was looking at this picture, going through your presentation, background, first time we met, I'm guessing that either Curtis or Lee was your mentor.
That's right, Curtis, yeah.
Curtis started out?
Yep.
Okay. And so I get a call one day, and it's a guy that I know outside of Lifestyles. He says, hey, a friend of mine is buying an apartment complex, and he doesn't really know what he's doing, and you might be able to help him out. Can you go meet him? I'm like, well, okay, I guess that's what I do. I'll go meet him. Turns out he's a Lifestyles member.
Yes.
He had to be introduced another way. So.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, so obviously got some good input from Scott, and as you said, Curtis is was my primary mentor, I suppose. But the property we're talking about is 60 units. It's called Bellstone Villas, and it's over in the Hobby Airport area. It's built in 1960, and we closed on it in November of 22. It was an assumption, so it took a while, but we signed the contract and all that, but 5 months later, November 22 is when we closed.
Yeah, and I remember just kind of looking over the details here. November of 2022, everything was pretty much red hot. Interest rates had started to rise, but the real estate prices hadn't started to get hit yet. And at 75 a door, I remember thinking this was a pretty good deal, and I think your loan assumption was good. We'll get into those details later. Right. But when we were walking it, I liked it, but it had a lot of deferred maintenance. They were not doing a good job, and you've probably got some before and after shots that'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But just the outline, you initially financed $3 million roughly. Mm-hmm. You brought in $2.5 million worth of investment. Now, you're not all of that. You've got passives in this, right?
That's right. Yeah, we have 45 passives total.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's kind of their average that they put in each?
It ranges from $25,000 to $100,000. several $25,000 investors. So anywhere in between.
Give him a hand for that. It's huge. He's helping the little guys out.
So that's what I thought I would hear. And we do try and include everybody in these deals. So if you're out there, you say, I don't have $1 million to do this, but I do have 25,000. That's kind of where we start. I have had smaller deals where I've gotten some really low, crazy numbers on that, like 5,000 or something like that.
Right.
But 25,000 is kind of the general number.
Really quick, before you move on, I know you guys, you have 45 different families, right?
Right.
I have people watching from all over the place, over 100 people watching, right?
Yeah.
So were all your investors right here from Houston?
Definitely not, no.
A couple out of state? You might want to say what states they're from?
Yeah, I think we probably had about 10 from out of state. They had Washington, Michigan, or Colorado, Florida, yeah.
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up for the people watching online is live where you want to live. You want to live in a communist state? That's okay. Invest where it makes sense, you know? So like we always say, landlord-friendly states, whatnot. And the point is, and here's another thing, you have 45 different families. Of those 45 families, how many of them physically came to the property and toured it?
Let's see, 0.
0. Who likes that? The point is, you're supposed to be living a lifestyle. He does all the work. He's there every day running the place, you know, with his staff, and you get to live the lifestyle. You understand the value of being what's called a passive investor, okay? I'll make sure they understand that.
I will say with that, though, if you do have time, if you want to be educated and you want to be a little bit involved, when we do the due diligence on these, we have a day where we walk all units, and a lot of times when I'm leading that, we will have people who are potential investors that want to see the property, they want to get their hands a little bit dirty, and we welcome that as well. So. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Skip a slide there?
Nope.
No? Wait a minute. There we go. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so what else do we want to look at here? So we had a rehab budget of $755,000. That's pretty much it for that slide, I think.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Going back between screens here. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a sort of current state snapshot. So we've got income at 817,000 roughly, expenses at 446, and then of course our NOI is right around 371,000, leaving us with a monthly cash flow of right around 12,000, and of course cash on cash return 5.64.
All right, so remember, we make money in real estate a lot of ways, like 5 of them. But one of them is cash on cash. And if you're going to invest in this, you're taking it out of a savings account or something like that, that's making some decent money for now until they start cutting rates on us, right? But this is better than what you're getting in your savings account when you move it into this type of investment. So your current evaluation based on what you've done to it, and 6.2 cap, if you don't know what a cap rate is, be here this weekend. He'll take you all through it. You'll get all the lingo down. But that is what is used to value investments, real estate investments, based on the net operating income.
Yep. Yeah, so currently worth right around $6 million, and we have distributed, starting earlier this year, we've had a couple of distributions, so $26,000. Yeah.
Okay, so while you were doing all the work, getting it turned around, making it pretty, you weren't distributing yet, you got everything
Right.
kind of finalized, and now you're moving forward with it.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great. And 6.1 million, what was the original number that you paid for it?
4.5 roughly. Yeah.
We've already got a pretty good gain here, right? That's just in my head here. We got about $1.6 million, and you had 2.5 was the original investment.
That's right. Yeah.
Not bad. And that's in how long? Year and a half?
Bought it in November 22, so yeah, about a year and a half. Yeah.
A little over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it like you said, it took a while to really turn things around, but once we did, it was, a lot of progress.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so now here's some of the before and after.
Yeah, so this is on the left, obviously, before. You can see real beat-up paint job. 2 owners ago, they did the paint, a pretty hefty rehab on the property. But, over time, obviously, that was showing some wear and tear. You can see the windows as well, pretty beat up and old. Honestly, I would love to go and replace all the windows, but that's an expensive job. So what we opted to do instead was to put solar screens over those windows. They make everything look nice and clean and functional, like we talk about here at Lifestyles, and then have the added benefit of also helping out with energy efficiency.
Yeah, these solar screens, number one, they're a great deal because they help with electricity and this time of year, the cooling and all of that. And they also hide when you've got a resident that's not necessarily keeping things clean on the inside.
Yeah, as you can see, yeah, on the
I had a
left.
plant worker in Clear Lake when I first started that he always was sleeping during the day, so he put tin foil across the windows to block out the sun so he could sleep. I fought with him. Then I discovered solar screens. Didn't have to fight with him anymore. I didn't care anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, we love them. We started off with doing those across the front of the property, and then we ended up doing them pretty well property-wide. So this is the courtyard area, which is sort of the focal point of the property. You can see we had some minor flooding issues or water retention there on the left. So we retooled the layout of that whole area, added some minor landscaping, some grills, redid the playground, and of course here you can see those solar screens as well. So it really makes that whole area just, a lot nicer to look at, and especially when we show the property. So on the left here, at the top, we've got a patio, essentially a weed garden, I guess I'd call that. I don't know. On the right, we transition over to doing some pavers in those areas. So again, much more functional, nice to look at for our residents.
And you've got the gravel between the pavers there, so you don't have weeds growing up. I remember that picture on the left from when we walked it that day, and some of those backyards were a nightmare.
Yeah. And so on the bottom left here, we have one of the kitchens that we inherited. This is actually not too bad compared to a lot of the others. But this is one that we would remove the cabinet faces from, and then it would transition into what you see on the right there. So we've got new cabinet faces, new hardware. The property already had, for the most part, vinyl plank. So we're not doing a whole lot more on this property than replacing those cabinet fronts, resurfacing, repainting, getting everything up to, our quality, addressing deferred, I guess, repair, sheetrock and that sort of thing.
And I'm assuming that's a resurface on the right side that you've done there. That's a nice job. Looks
Correct.
Like Carrera marble or something. Looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we've got a good guy for that. Yeah.
Good.
Here's our laundry room, and here you can really see how the paint's taken a beating on the exterior, and then the contrast now with the new paint on the right there and the signage. So top left there, interior of the laundry room, just needed a complete makeover. So on the top right, we went in with some paint, some lights, a fan, put down some faux wood tile, new baseboard. It really didn't cost that much to make it look so much better.
It looks a lot better.
Yeah.
And that exterior, that's the tired look that I remember from that day we were walking.
Yeah, and this allowed us to drive income, which I think I mentioned on the next slide or so, from about $700 a year to maybe $2,700. So it was worth the money.
Okay, so here's the breakout, the progression of income as you've been pushing the rents and doing the upgrades to justify higher rents.
Right.
All right. So wow, from 726 to 842 in a year. Oh, so that's over a 10% increase in the first year.
Yeah, so this year one was a projection. You'll see the actual.
Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry. This is the projection in year one. That's the actual year two and the actual year three. But yeah, big jump, big difference. Yeah.
Nice. Operating expenses, they went up a little bit, but taxes, insurance, we've had a lot of things the last couple of years that have probably impacted that.
Yeah.
And then the big thing, and again, net operating income is how these things get valued when you apply a cap rate to them. So you've taken it from 321 first year, and we're talking about 413 now. So that's almost a 30% gain there. Actually, it's just, right at a 30% gain.
Yeah, so we're at roughly the year two figure now, and then year three we're projecting. Yeah, that's right, 413.
Well, that's not hard to imagine that you're going to go that much in the next year.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Mortgage, you did a loan assumption, you said, so there's been no change, no interest-only period or anything like that.
Yeah, when we bought it, it was a 10-year loan. Interest only had run out, so we're paying principal since we took over, yeah.
Okay. But that's okay. You're paying pay down on the principal
Right.
as well, so that's an additional way that we make money. And then you've got net cash flow. So I think what you just said was you've just started cash flowing. We were at like 5.6, so this is a projection on year two of where you're heading
Correct.
here.
Yeah, where we expect to end the year, yep.
And then you'll add a little bit more next year.
Right.
All right. Excellent.
Yep. How did we increase the NOI? The main the main driver is obviously the rent. So we've pushed rents several times now. We did it earlier this year. We're going to evaluate doing that again in August. We're sort of at the top for the market.
For the area. So can you give us some idea, the one that we saw the interior of with the kitchen on the left versus the after, what kind of price difference were they getting before and what you're getting now for that?
Let's see here. The original rent on that unit was probably on the order of, we'll say $1,050, and now we're getting $1,275. Yeah.
20% increase.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That is huge. Okay, so you're looking at starting to charge for water and sewer. They were giving that away before?
They were giving it away. Yeah, that's right. So we're charging for water and sewer. They were giving it away, as you say, so we weren't making anything. And now we're covering about 60% of our costs there.
So has anybody seen a change in their water bill over the last 2 years at your house? On the commercial side, I don't remember getting this at my house, but maybe we did too, and I just didn't notice it because it's nowhere near the thousands of dollars per month that we get on some of these apartment complexes. But in the last 2 years, I think they've gone up either 20 or 30%, 10% hikes at least twice and maybe 3 times in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think they've got 2 different types of increases they're doing. One for inflation and then one for, covering other expenses of some
Yeah, because
kind.
they're behind on upgrades or something
That's
like
right.
that, and they've got bonds to pay for. So when you've got this implemented where you're just billing back the water on a per unit basis and adding it on top of the rent, when those increases come along, you don't feel them as the owner, you pass them right through. However, when they were giving it away for free, you eat the whole thing. So when I talk about before the expenses that were going up, kind of normal stuff, taxes, insurance, water is a big one of those expenses that has gone up.
Yep. Yeah, the expense increase that we saw on the earlier slide, that was some of that was water. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now talk to me about community management because I think I'm going to learn something tonight.
So we labeled this a community management fee. What it breaks down to is really us charging the residents for a property damage liability waiver, so renter's insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, so we bill them for that. That way we know we're covered. We sell it to them essentially for $15, and then we pay $8, so we make $7 on that.
So what he's talking about there is the lease requires them to carry renter's insurance. So if they do something silly like they're barbecuing outside on the patio and the flame goes crazy and it burns the patio or the building or something like that, their insurance covers that. If they have a stovetop fire, their insurance covers the damage that happens. And we usually make them carry amounts of at least $100,000. However, what they do is they will go out and get it, pay it for a month, give us proof, and then they forget to pay. And it gets canceled. And then they light the fire, right?
Yeah.
So what we do, or what you're doing, is you're just instituting your own $15. You're making 45% or something, if I'm doing my calculation right. And you're controlling all that, so there's no risk involved.
Yeah, we don't have to chase down whether or not they're making their payments, yeah.
Beautiful. Other income, I love it.
Yep.
Renovated laundry room, you talked about this before.
Yep, so we get an increase in laundry income there, about 75%. And
Was
then,
everything just broken before, so nobody was using it? They were going down the street or something?
I think so. I mean, when you walked in, I wouldn't want to do my laundry in there. It was pretty nasty. So I think that definitely played a part. So yeah, that's
We've seen a lot of things too, where usually we have a service that provides the equipment, and a lot of times they'll collect the quarters, all that sort of stuff. Well, if they see that you as an owner are not taking care of the property, their laundry room is not well taken care of, something goes wrong, they're not so quick to get out there. So the machines are broken and it becomes a problem. So it's good that you got that rectified.
Yeah. And then we've been pushing reserve parking. So we've increased that, by about 35%. So.
Okay. Good. Yeah, reserve parking is great. Again, you got those people that are maybe shift workers, they come home late, maybe they're out dinner, drinks, whatever. They want to make sure there's a spot for them when they get home close to their apartment, not on the other side of the parking lot.
Right.
And they're willing to pay.
Yeah.
How much are you getting for that?
Right now we're charging 35, but it's been as high as 45. So it just kind of depends.
You keep cranking that up.
Right.
Good.
All right. So here you can see the NOI that we inherited with the property. So $274,000. quite a large increase from that point. And then the sale price there, 4.454. So there's our year one projection, and you can see that we were actually in the red at that particular NOI, but we've pushed beyond that, and you can see our projection there for year two, which does beat our pro forma for year two and year three. So things are really headed in the right direction for us. So the property valuation at the end of this year would be about $6.5 million.
Okay.
And then the debt, the loan payoff, subtracted from that, along with the return of investor capital, adding in the cash on cash would give us a total cash and equity capture of a little over $1 million.
So I used to love my interest-only loans that I have, and I used to hate when the principal would kick in. Now it's my forced 401k. That money, you're putting aside 40 grand a year at that rate, and you'll get it all back when you get to the closing table, when you sell this thing, refi it, whatever your plans are for this.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it now. I've gotten used to it. It's my savings account that I don't have to think about. All right, so we got return of investor capital and your distributions you're making, and then total returns there.
Right.
Excellent. So 3 years in, again, this is a little bit of a projection, but we're on track here. And you're talking about $1.4 million on the $2.5 million that was initially invested.
Right.
Pretty good. Anybody like that? Yeah? You want a piece of that? All right, good.
Yeah, so one of the things that I didn't anticipate, but we're really proud of and appreciate is being able to transform the property into just a much nicer place to live. We've had a lot of people, a lot of residents come in and just tell us how much they love what we've done with the property, all the improvements. Of course, we got rid of a lot of people, but the people that have stayed, they're just really enjoying what we've done with it. So that feels good to give back to the people at the property and just in the community at large there.
Yeah, so one thing that we really hammer on in Lifestyles as you're going through this process, if you're in a place like Hobby Airport area, you don't need to go in there and put in granite countertops and marble backsplashes and all this really expensive stuff. You got to stay focused on what your clientele wants, and you want to be the best product at the best price in that area. Then you'll be 100% occupied, and you'll be cash flowing. If you're going to get in some other areas, and we do have people that do this, maybe in the Galleria where you've got new construction that a one bedroom is $2,000 a month or something, and we're buying 1970s product that can use some upgrade, there's a big gap there. And we can take advantage of some of that. You just got to know where you fit in that marketplace and don't outrun it, right?
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And as a result of doing all that, something good happened.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we won an award. So this is a little braggy slide here, but we won the Houston Apartment Association Property of the Year Award for under 100 units. So that's me and my wife there on the left at the awards ceremony, and the staff there on the right. So we're pretty proud of that.
And again, when you look down the sides, both sides of the room here, these are all the awards dating back to 2006, I think. And I think we've won this award every year since then.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing in Dallas. They're doing it in Central Texas. And we do it at the national level. Those ones that you see NAA, those aren't local. Those are national.
Right.
So that means they won local, they went to state, and then they went to national.
Yeah, and there were 2 other Lifestyles award winners that night with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all were all sitting at the same table right behind me, I think.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
So I want to continue focusing on this property, increasing the income like we're talking about, managing those expenses, and then just continue to evaluate to, sell or refi. I appreciate all the learning here at Lifestyle, so I want to continue taking advantage of that, and might look at taking on a certification for National Apartment Association, and then start looking for property number 2.
So the NAA CAPS that's there, that is the Apartment Property Supervisor Award. They've got different levels that they give. Some of them are apartment management, CAM, CAM. CAPS is the next level up. So yeah, just moving up through the cycle there. Good.
Yeah. And
long term.
Long term, yeah, I mean, the plan is to really retire, and to get there, I need to continue purchasing additional properties. So I want to work full-time in real estate, so just continue looking for properties and investing passively. teaching involve the kids in real estate. I've got a 16-year-old. I was just telling a friend that he's talking about buying single-family homes now. So that's pretty fun and exciting to be able to talk real estate with him and my other 2 kids.
It's pretty cool, the people that have gone through there that have done it with their families. And then also we have one that's doing it with his nieces and nephews now. He's gotten to the point where he's done. He's got 2 properties left after having, I don't know, at least a dozen. And he is done. So now he's taking the next step and doing nieces, nephews, anybody that's showing the interest that he needs to see, he's taking them on.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Finally, just, give back to Lifestyles. They've given us a lot. So doing things like this, talking to other, leads, people that want to be a lead, and then anything we can do in the wider community.
So part of what he's referencing there, the peer network here is huge, whether you're a passive, an individual owner, or a lead. We just had a meeting last week right here in this room, and I would say once a month when we get together for at least 2 hours, and that's before we go eat and drink afterwards, there's probably 50 people usually that's participating, and those happened all over the country as well.
Right.
Even the passives have meetups or get-togethers all around Houston. I think there was one in the Woodlands a couple nights ago or something like that.
Yeah, and we've got a small group that meets, out in the area that we own in. A lot of Lifestyles owners out there, and I think it's like that all over the city. Yeah. All right. So, Curtis, as we said, was my primary mentor. Scott came out and helped me, gave me some great advice. Randa, operations consultant, I've spoken with her many times by now, and she's been such a great help. And Diane O'Brien actually brought me this deal through Lifestyles Realty. And these are some of the vendors that we've used for some of the rehab that we've done. Yeah.
All right. Questions?
I got questions online.
Oh, okay.
What was the occupancy rate when you bought the property, and did you lose any tenants when you raised the rents?
So when we took over, it was actually in a distressed situation, I guess you'd say. It was 83% because the purchase was an assumption. It just, like I said, took a long time. So we went from, what they had at the time, and they were trying to sell it from 95 to 83. They just completely let things go. Anyways, when we took over, it was 83, and it took us a while to get up into the 90s, so October of 2023, and then ever since then, we've probably been averaging in about 95%.
Curious, when you did some of the upgrades, did any of the existing residents say, I want to move next door?
Let's see, do we have anybody like that? Maybe 1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah, I've always been surprised when I have a big rent increase, 20% or whatever we said it was, and somebody comes in, they're on their renewal, and I say, okay, we're going to raise your rent $50 or whatever we're going to do for our regular renewals. They go, I'm not paying that for that, but I want the one that I saw you working on next door, and they'll pay up more for that. So it's pretty encouraging when that happens.
Yeah.
That they like it, they like the place, they like the things that they're seeing. Good community atmosphere.
Yeah.
Anything else online?
No.
Okay, there was a question out here.
Renter's insurance. Typically, and this is a technical question,
Okay.
it's probably more appropriate for next.
See if I can answer it.
But do I understand that you have a blanket renter's insurance policy for all 60 units? Because typically when we do forced place renter's insurance, it has to be in the resident's name and not a blanket policy. So how did you set that up?
And repeat the question in layman's terms.
He's questioning the, he called it community management fee or something like
Right.
that. It's really renter's insurance that he controls. And his question was, did he do a blanket policy because specifically this is a requirement, the insurance needs to be in the resident's name, not in our name.
Right. Yeah, so I believe it is in the resident's name. It is a blanket policy, but it's across multiple properties. We use a management company. So, they have, a better deal, if you will, as far as individual pricing goes. But yeah, I believe it's got to be in the individual's name, yes.
Well, what he's addressing there is a little bit of a legal issue. You got to make sure you're doing it right. He's got a professional management company that's doing this thing because he hadn't retired yet. He's still got his job.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, so we charge $40 for the community management fee. $15 of that is basically charged to the property damage liability waiver, and then we pay $8 for the policy, and so we pocket $7 of that. So yeah, 45%.
But you've got to build it.
Repeat the question, please.
Not directly.
Well, they're going to get their management fee off of
Yes.
that as income. So they're getting a small piece of it, commission, if you will.
That's pretty in the weeds, guys. Do that road trip.
Yeah.
You're getting deep. What else?
Make them new folks.
What was your biggest challenge with the property?
Let's see. I think we had some stubborn residents. Hard to get rid of a few people, but mainly that was because we carried over staff from the previous owner. So I think if we had addressed that early and basically transitioned to the staff we have now.
So when you see a pattern that he mentioned before where it was 90% occupied, and then as they were going through the process, it trickled down closer to 80 in a distressed situation, and it had all the problems that it had. If you keep the staff that's there, a lot of times they have relationships with these people. And particularly coming out of COVID, when there was all sorts of money flow issues and whatnot going on, okay, pay me next week on the rent. Yeah, don't worry, we'll waive late fees. You don't know what they did or what they promised in the past. And so it's really tricky when you're keeping that staff to not just cut, bring in new people with a new mindset and move forward.
Yeah, and that's absolutely what happened. She had relationships with a lot of people. She was terrible with delinquency. We got rid of her. Delinquency went way down.
I like when I'm buying a property that's got like 4 employees on it between maintenance and in the office, because I like to find the one person I want to keep because they know where all the bodies are buried and they can help you, right, in the transition. So, but then you can get rid of everybody else and bring in the new mindset.
So, Adam, I have a question for you. There's new folks here watching online in person. Maybe they're thinking about investing in apartments for the first time. They never did it. Brand new to the seminar kind of thing. What advice would you give to a new investor thinking about getting apartments? Think back to when you joined.
Sure. I would say, well, I think there's been a trend probably in everybody that's come up here. Don't put things off. I think everybody, some people like to think about things a little bit more than others. I'm an analyst by nature, so I really like to think about things. But take action. Don't just sit there. Don't sit on your hands about it. There's a lot of good opportunity out there. So gather the information you need, but take action.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I would tell you, just to add on to that, look, things got sky high a couple of years ago. It's been a little rough lately. The interest rates didn't help us. But what it really did was set the stage, because there has been a reset in price. And I hear too many people out there that think it's going to just bottom out at some point, and it's already going down. I don't care about timing the bottom. As long as I'm somewhere near it, it's going to come back up. And the time is now. I've seen 2 deals this week that came to me, and I'm glad I've got some dry powder, and I'm ready to evaluate and ready to move, because we're about to see the interest rates start to come, right? Sounds like in September, and that's going to start to trigger things, and things are going to happen. So don't sit around and wait for too much longer.
Yeah, you don't want to wait till after the fact when, all of a sudden they drop another half point and then people jump in.
That's right.
Now everything's
and then I
too
missed the
much
boat.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's give these guys a hand. Appreciate it, guys.